Hello, Namaskar, Khambagani people. Welcome back to our channel, Professor Tiwari, and my name is Amrita. So today we're going to continue with the same topic of class 11, that is cell, the unit of life. So in the previous class we started about the introduction part and we covered the introductory part between the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes, and we look about the cell theory and the cell history. So now today we're going to discuss about the three things from the topic, that is the prokaryotic organisms, the cell envelope and its modification, and the third, that is the ribosome and the inclusion bodies. As we have studied in the previous class also while discussing the introduction, that ribosome is a non-membranous structure, which means it doesn't have a membrane around it, and it is present in both prokaryotic and eukaryotic organisms. So let's continue with the topic, that is today we're going to discuss the prokaryotic organisms. Okay. The prokaryotic organisms. All right. So, like for the detailed view or for the detailed knowledge for the prokaryotic organisms, like I have already discussed in the class 9th one. If you go to the playlist of class 9th, you will see that I have discussed the prokaryotic organisms in the detailed over here in that one. But here we are going to discuss the brief introduction and some other things which we have not discussed in the class 9th, which are more important. So it is very important to know that, see, the prokaryotic organisms, they are actually very small in structure, because usually they are single celled organisms, so they are very small in structure, which means they are very small in structures. So what they are small. They are small in structure, and the major part of them, or the very unique quality that they have is that they multiply rapidly. Okay, multiply rapidly. Okay, if you just compare the multiplication or duplication or replication of the prokaryotic organisms with the eukaryotic ones, you will find that prokaryotic organisms can divide and can multiply with a very large speed, and they can divide in thousands of numbers within a few minutes. Okay, whereas the multiplication or the division of the eukaryotic organisms take a lot of time. Like you can take the example of multiplication of cells when the formation of the fetus takes place. There is a single cell, then the multiplication of cell takes place, and how does the whole body forms. So it's a whole period of gestation of 9 months. Okay, whereas in the case of prokaryotic organisms, because they are single celled, so in that case they multiply very fast. Okay, with the help of binary fission usually. Okay, now what is the other thing? Like if you just look at the examples of the prokaryotic organisms, you have bacteria, which is the most common one. Okay, other than that you have mycoplasma. We discussed mycoplasma in the previous class when we were discussing the introduction one, that it is the smallest organism that you can find in the nature, and its size is 0.3 micrometer. Bacteria is definitely 3 to 5 micrometer, that we have already studied. Other than that we have blue-green algae. Okay, what else we have in other than this? We have PPLO. Now what is PPLO? PPLO is pleuro pneumonia like organism. Okay, this is also a prokaryotic bacteria. Now what is the other feature that prokaryotic organisms do have? See, the other you can say the other feature of prokaryotic organism is that most of the prokaryotic organisms, they actually have similar kind of a structure, which means the structure is quite similar to each other. They don't have much variations in that, but still, okay, like they all have the cell wall, they all have the cell membrane, they all have the cytoplasm, they don't have the defined nucleus present over there. So which means that they have similar structure. They have similar structure, okay, but shows wide variety in what? In functions and in structure. Okay. So they show a wide variety in function as well as in structure. We will discuss in later on when we will move ahead, like how their structures are being different. Other than, if you would just talk about their structure or their shape, they have different type of shapes. Basically they have 4 common type of shapes. So shape of prokaryotic, shape of prokaryotes, like they have the vibro. Vibro is, it is thread-like structure. Okay, they have coccus, which is spherical in shape. which means spherical in shape. This is the shape, these are the shapes of the bacteria, of the prokaryotic organisms. This is Vibrio, Coccus, they have bacillus, which means the rod shape, and the last one is Spirillum. Spirillum, which means spiral shape. Okay, so bacteria commonly has 4 type of shapes, that is a Vibrio, Coccus, Bacillus, Spirillum. If you just look at the Vibrio, it is a thread like structure, which means कुछ ऐसा होगा वो, the Vibrio shape अगर हम देखते हैं तो thread जैसा होगा, ऐसा thread जैसा यूं ये shape होगा इसका. Coccus जो कि spherical है, it would be like this. Okay, Bacillus which is a rod shape like this. Okay, and Spirillum would be like this. So these are the 4 shapes of the bacteria, and as I told you that they show a wide variety of structure and function depending on their shapes also. Okay, now moving ahead into the prokaryotic organisms, what other thing that they have that we eukaryotes don't have is that they have the inclusion bodies. Okay, we'll discuss inclusion bodies in detail. So what is an inclusion body? See, inclusion body is actually a unique structure. So they have another unique property that prokaryotes have. It is that inclusion bodies. They have inclusion bodies. This is a these are the special characteristic special characteristic of the bacteria. Okay, other than that they have membrane infoldings. Okay, these membrane infoldings are actually the of plasma membrane. Okay, these are the plasma membrane fold itself inside it, and these are the mesosomes. Okay, we'll discuss what mesosomes in detail, what mesosomes are, okay, what their role is, what they do actually, okay, and what inclusion bodies in detail when we'll move forward in this whole topic. Okay, now moving ahead in this one, so this was a small introduction about the prokaryotic organisms, because as I told you that we have already discussed the prokaryotic organisms in the class 9 topic. When we are discussing that, we have discussed them in detail over there, so you can go back to that playlist and you can check it out, the discussion about the prokaryotic organisms, and you can mix the whole you can make one full note for the prokaryotes from there. Now moving ahead to this one is that other than that, we have already discussed that the cytoplasm is a common feature which is present between the prokaryotes and the eukaryotes. Other than that, we have the ribosomes, which are the non-membranous structure present in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes. We have, okay, now moving ahead into this one, we have another topic that we need to discuss today is the cell envelope. Cell envelope and modification. Okay. So we'll discuss cell envelope and modification. Like, what is cell envelope? What is a modification? See, what happens is most of the prokaryotic bacteria, they have special structure which is present in them, and these are this will provide an extra covering for the bacteria. Okay, so what they do is most of prokaryotes have special you can say special membrane outside. They have special membrane, they have special membrane present, and which provides extra coating. Okay, which provides extra coating. Now if you just look at the whole structure of this envelope is actually being made up of 3 layers. Okay, if you just look at the 3 layers of the envelope, 3 layers that bacteria has, most of the prokaryotic organisms have, they have the outermost layer, and that outermost layer is called as glycocalyx. Okay, glycocalyx. Middle one is your cell wall, and the inner one is your plasma membrane or cell membrane. Okay, so these are the three layers of the envelope has, that is the glycocalyx, the cell wall and the plasma membrane, but they together, all three of them, they work as single unit. They work as single unit, okay, to provide the safe environment for the prokaryotic organism, okay, or to provide a safety to the prokaryotic organism. Okay, now moving ahead into this one that we have studied, that as the glycocalyx has been there, so glycocalyx is actually a very important one over here. Okay, I just write this one over here. They work as single unit. Okay, they work as single unit, but based on the like how this membrane work, because as I told you that they work as a single unit, which means they should show whether the bacteria is being, like, on the basis of the presence of these single unit or the basis of presence of glycocalyx especially, the bacteria has been divided into two bases. Okay, so based on glycocalyx, bacteria is actually divided into two types. Okay, now how they are being divided into two types based on the glycocalyx? So it is based according to the staining. I hope you have heard about the staining, like when we prepare a slide for to see it under the microscope, we provide the stain, a color to the mount that we have. So some of the bacteria will take up that stain, some of the bacteria don't take up that stain. So based upon the staining, bacteria, those who take stain, they are gram positive. Which one will be gram positive? Those who take stain. Okay, and gram negative bacteria are also present, those who don't. Okay, so there are two types of bacteria that has been classified according to the glycocalyx. According to the staining that they take, is that they are gram positive, those who take stain, and they are gram negative. Why we call them gram? So Gram was a person who actually invented or actually discovered this whole staining procedure. So the name is being given on that scientist Gram. He gave that staining procedure or that staining thing, according to which it is being described that those who take the stain are the gram positive and those who don't are called as gram negative ones. Okay, now moving ahead into this one, into this whole thing, into glycocalyx thing, because as I told you, glycocalyx is a important layer of the prokaryotic organisms. So I just drop this part also so that I have more space. I will have more space to write. Okay, now moving ahead into this one is that if you just look at the glycocalyx, so it differs in composition and thickness, which means in some bacteria this glycocalyx will be of different chemical composition and would be thin in nature, and in some bacteria, in some prokaryotic organisms, this glycocalyx can be thick and it can be of different chemical composition. So based on that, if we just look at this one, so on the basis of the composition and thickness, it can be loose sheath. So if it's loose sheath, it will be called as slime. Okay, slime layer, you call it slime layer. Okay, and if it is thick and tough, if the glycocalyx is thick and tough, in that case it would be cell envelope. It will be cell envelope. This envelope is it will be called as capsule. Okay, if this capsule is very common in the viruses, if you just see, it's very common over there. Okay, now moving ahead into this one, okay, so fine, we have discussed till over here. Now what else we what else has been there, that which is been there in the cell envelope and the modification. So the main thing that has been that we're going to discuss, another thing that we're going to discuss over here is about the you can say the inclusion bodies or about the ribosomes. As I told you that the ribosomes are very much common in the prokaryotes and in the eukaryotic organisms. Okay, so they are very common in both of them. Okay, so if you just talk about the ribosomes, then ribosomes, okay, so before going to ribosomes, I guess we'll discuss two more points over here, is that cell motility. Motility of the bacteria, whether the bacteria can move or not. Motility means movement. So whether the bacteria can move or not, some bacteria can move, some bacteria don't. Okay, so it depends, like whether they have that movement organization or movement tools that bacteria requires to move. Like we have the legs to move. Okay, but do the bacteria have legs? No, though they don't have legs, but they have some other mechanism to move. So actually they move. Bacteria, so according to motility, bacteria can be classified into two types: motile, which is moving bacteria, and non-motile, which means non-moving bacteria. Okay, so if the bacteria are motile, definitely they need some mechanism, and that mechanism is actually being provided by projections which are coming out of the cell, which is called as flagella. So what is flagella? It is the projection coming out of cell wall. Okay, they are big and they come out of cell wall. Okay, now what this flagellum is made up of? Okay, so this flagellum actually has three components. This flagellum has three components, that is the filament, it has basal body, and it has the hook. Okay, so it has three things, that is the it has the filament, it has basal body, and it has the hook. Okay, now we'll discuss about the filament in a bit detail. So I'll just rub this portion down. Okay, and we'll discuss about the filament. Other than the flagellum, bacteria also have, or the prokaryote organisms also have some other materials present on, or some other projections on their body, but we'll discuss them in the in the later part right now. So first we'll discuss about the filament. Like how does the filament actually, what does it, how does it help? So it is actually long, and it projects outside, projects from cell wall, and it projects from cell wall and into outside environment. Okay, it projects into outside environment. Now moving ahead and more into this one is that, sorry, so other than the filament, we have the one more thing, that is the pili and the fimbriae. Now what this pili and fimbriae are? So if we just talk about this pili, this is elongated tubular structure. Okay, this is elongated tubular structure, and it is made up of special protein. Whereas fimbriae, if you just talk about fimbriae, they are actually the small bristle like fiber. Okay, they are small bristle like fiber. Okay, and that okay, all right. Now, okay, and filament, just one more thing about the filament is that the filament can have, they have different arrangement and number. Okay, So just look at the filament and about the pili and fimbriae. The filament is actually, they are long in structure. They are projected from the cell wall, then go outside in the environment. They have different arrangement and different number. So it's not necessary that all the bacteria, all the prokaryotic organisms will have the same number of filaments or same arrangement of filaments. The arrangement and their number can differ. Okay, other than that, the bacteria also have some other projections coming out of their body, of its body, that is the pili and the fimbriae. So what is a pili? Pili is actually the elongated tubular structure. It is tubular in structure and they are made up of special protein. Okay, the fimbriae, to talk about this, they are small and blister-like structure, and both of these, pili and fimbriae, they have no role in motility. They have no role in motility. They are playing completely no role in motility, which means they are present on the body, but they play no role on the motility. Okay. Other than that, okay. Now moving ahead into this one. Okay. So we have discussed about the motility thing. Now, what more? What more we can discuss about this one over here is that we discussed about the inclusion bodies, okay, or we discussed about the mesosomes. Mesosomes. So mesosomes are actually what? This is actually the infolding of plasma membrane. Okay, what is the role of this mesosome present? Like what? How does it helps? How does it helps? It actually increases the surface area of plasma membrane, a very important part, because plasma membrane has to play a very crucial roles. So it increases the surface area so that more and more things can be done by the plasma membrane. What else it can done? It can also provide help in respiration. Okay, what else? It helps in DNA replication and distribution. Okay, what else? Enzyme activity. All right, what more it can help? It can help in secretion process. What else it can help in? It can also help in respiration, DNA replication and distribution, enzyme activity, secretion process. Okay, so that's it. That's it for the mesosomes. Okay. Other than the mesosomes, there are certain prokaryotic organisms. Okay, there are certain prokaryotic photosynthetic organisms. Like for example, if I just talk about cyanobacteria. This is a photosynthetic prokaryotic organism. So cyanobacteria actually has another, you can say, these mesosomes present into them, mesosomes like thing present into them, and they are called chromatophores. Okay, now what is this chromatophore? This chromatophore is nothing but it is a pigment. Okay, it is a pigment which is present over here, and it provides color to the cyanobacteria. Okay, now more into that is that what other thing the prokaryotes have, like as I talk you about the DNA replication and distribution in its daughter cell. So other than this one, these prokaryotic organisms, other than you can say the DNA, they have extra chromosomal DNA. They have extra chromosomal DNA which is actually circular, and it is circular. Okay, it is circular in nature and it is known as plasmid. Now what is plasmid, and what is the function of plasmid? How does the plasmid helps? So plasmid actually, when you say that the bacteria or the organism has developed a drug resistance, so how it helps? It actually have the sites for the antibiotic resistance. So provides site for antibiotics. antibiotic resistance. Okay, it provides site for antibiotic resistance. Other than that, it also helps in, if I just talk about, in DNA transfer. Okay, there is a DNA transfer that takes place in the DNA. Okay, there is a conjugation process that takes place. Okay, so it takes place, there is a DNA transfer that takes place from the one bacteria to another bacteria. So plasmid play a crucial role over there, because it is actually not the bacteria which the bacterial chromosome, the chromosomal DNA which is getting transferred, but it is the plasmid which is helping in transferring of the DNA. Okay, now, okay, so moving ahead in this one, we have, now we talked about like mesosome is a, it's an extra folding which is being present over here now, but mesosome can be found, this mesosome can be of 3 types in the cell, in the prokaryotic organism. It can be present in the form of vesicles, in the form of tubules and lamella. Okay, so you can find mesosomes into 3 types in the present in the prokaryotic organism, in the form of vesicles, small structures, in the form of tubes, or in the presence of lamella, which means another sheet kind of a structure which has been there. Okay, now moving ahead with the last topic of today, that is the ribosomes that we discussed, that we need to discuss. Ribosomes and inclusion bodies. Okay, like we discussed, like we will discuss about the ribosomes. So as we know that ribosome is a non-membranous bound structure, and it is present in both prokaryotes and eukaryotes, but there is a slight difference between the structure of ribosome of prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Definitely they are being different. If you just look at the ribosome, then what is the main feature of ribosome first? So it is the main feature is to make proteins. Okay, but if you look at the structure of the ribosome, so the ribosome is actually 15 nm by 20 nm, it's its size. Okay, and it is always present in 2 subunits, which means there are 2 subunits of ribosomes are present. Larger one is 50 and smaller one is 20. Okay, when they both come up together, they make a 70 subunit ribosome. Okay, that is a complete structure. Okay, now what happens when this ribosome, they go and attach on mRNA, what they do is they make proteins. Okay, but sometimes what happens on a single mRNA, there is a single mRNA has been there, plus there will be many ribosomes that will go and gonna attach on a single ribosome. Okay, this whole thing, when a single mRNA, on a single mRNA they are attaching many ribosomes together, this whole thing will be called as polyribosomes or polysomes. Okay, these polysomes are helpful, or these polyribosomes are helpful in the synthesis of the protein. Okay, now this is about the like the ribosome, like how does the ribosome help and what is the structure, and there will always be 2 subunits of the ribosomes, whether it's in prokaryotes and eukaryotes, just the size of the ribosomes differ. Okay, all right, now talking about the inclusion bodies. So what is this inclusion body is? Inclusion body. Okay, so when we talk about inclusion body, then inclusion body is actually nothing but the reserve storage of material in cytoplasm of prokaryotes. Okay, This is the reserved storage material of prokaryotes, and they are actually freely present in the ribosome, in the bacteria or in the prokaryotic organisms, and they are not associated with any membrane structure. They are not associated with any membrane structure. Okay, and examples for that is the phosphate granules. There can be glycogen granules. Okay, these are the solid ones. If you just talk about the gas vacuoles, then in gas vacuoles, the gas vacuoles are actually present in blue-green algae. Okay, it is present in purple and green bacteria. Okay, so this is about the inclusion bodies, and inclusion bodies are actually the storage material, which is, or the material which is being present in the form of reserve material in the cytoplasm of the prokaryotic organisms, and they are not associated with any membranous structure. Okay, can be present in the form of phosphate granules, glycogen granules, and some other form. You can just Google it down if you want more examples for that. In the gas vacuole type, they are present in the blue-green algae one, the purple and the green bacteria, they are being present. Okay, so that is all for today. That is the end of the prokaryotic one. So in the next class, we'll discuss about the eukaryotes one, and we'll discuss more about the membrane-bound structures. Okay, we'll go in detail about them. We might discuss about the ribosomes in the eukaryotic organisms too. So if you have any doubts regarding this topic, any questions you have, you can easily drop them in the comment box. I'll try to answer them. And if you have and you can also like, share and subscribe our channel, and you can please hit the bell icon for the more such updates in the future. Thank you. Bye.